Welcome to Modular Hippo and episode 11 of the Kiribati 36 aluminium boat build. This playlist is mainly for the wiring and the components that I'm using in the boat that I'm building. In this episode I am completing the build of the first Seplos Mason 280 pack. So I'm going through that finalized stage as well as the balancing up to a point where I can now start using that for the actual motor build itself. So let's take a look. I have acquired some Ocean Flex 50mm 2 cables, some offcuts that cheaply got from eBay. The reason I've chosen 50mm 2 is because that is the size that the Seplos connection terminals take. So I'm gonna crimp the end bits onto these cables, and then the other side of the cables will then go to the isolation switches. I will keep those isolation switches in the aluminium box that the batteries will sit in, so that if I ever have to do any maintenance on these batteries, when I take the lid off, I can then turn them off completely from the live circuit, and I know that I should then be safe to operate. So the first thing I will do is remove roughly that much of the rubber on the outside. And also I didn't mention that, but this is the marine cable. So Ocean Flex is a tinned copper wire, which is not corroding as quickly as just normal copper wire would. Something like this. I'll just need to use the crimp tool. Eager to give this a go, I've put some 50-8 cable shoes ends on the cable. This will then go to the box with the isolation switches. I've also put a domestic plug onto the American or North American version plug. This one is only good for 13 amps, but I think that should be good enough for at least 50 amp of charging. So I need to make sure I set my Chargeverter to 50 amps max. Otherwise I think I can blow the fuse. I've ordered some shrink tubing for this, but I don't want to have to wait for it, so I will put that on at a later stage when it arrives. So what we got now on the battery side is the cables goes into this little box with 2 isolation switches. I couldn't be asked waiting for the isolation switches I've ordered, so I borrowed some isolation switching from the motor setup, and that then goes to the Seplos connection boxes. So this one is then set to off, which means that I should be able to connect it to the battery safely. And the actual battery main isolate switch on the EG4 is set to off as well. The other side, which is the main side or the shore side, is now connected to the new plug and to the domestic 13 amp plug. Moment of truth, I actually haven't started this battery pack since I built it, so there's a big chance that it potentially won't even start. Apparently, to start it you need to click this reset button down here. Let's give that a go. Seplos BMS welcomes you. I'm not sure what that line is on the right hand side. It doesn't look very good, but maybe it should be there. Pack voltage 52.7, current is 000 amp because there's no draw, state of charge is 50%, and warning is N. Not sure what N stands for, but I'll look that up. I also noticed that the run indicator light is blinking green, so that's interesting and something I need to look at as well, what that means. I should now, in theory, be able to connect the Chargeverter to the grid, and with that I should be able to also set the amperage and voltage to whatever is needed. So it's now plugged into the grid and it's firing up, which is positive. Welcome, please wait. So charge is green, power is green, voltage is 0.51, current is 0A, sock is lost. And the reason sock is lost is because I am not communicating between the Chargeverter and the battery pack. I don't have a protocol set up for that yet, and all I need to do now is set the charge voltage to the recommended voltage for the battery pack and the current to 50 amps. Switch the isolation switches on and it should start to charge the battery pack. So let's start with setting the Chargeverter to the right configuration. I've set the voltage to 57. The recommended charge voltage for Seplos Mason is 57.6. This Chargeverter only goes up to 57, so I want to understand what that 0.6 volts, what the difference will be of me not being able to meet that. So I'll probably ask Seplos that question. I've also set the charge current to 50 amp. And the sock start, battery start, sock stop and battery stop are all for when you are using an automated generator that can stop and start depending on the state of charge. So I'm going to leave those for now, and I think we are ready to go. So I think the next thing is just to open up the isolation switches and finally switch this over, and we'll see what happens. So the charger is blinking green, which means it's charging, and I guess when the battery is full, that should be a solid green. On the battery pack itself, we have the capacity lights indicating. I know that each of these capacity lights represent 25% of the full state of charge. So it looks like we are somewhere around between 50 and 75% of charging. The run light is now solid green, and I struggle to see what's the actual thing is saying. I will use my phone to light that up. Maybe I don't want to press any buttons at this point. So yeah, let's wait and see. While this is charging, I'm going to go and read up on the active balance switch and see how and when that should be used, because right now I have no clue. Okay, we are 15 minutes in and the Chargeverter sped up in terms of its cooling fan and then shut itself off completely. So we no longer have power or charge here, and on the battery box the capacity has gone completely, so there's no lights on the capacity. So I'm going to go and see if it's blown a fuse on the mains. If not, then I'll probably turn all of this off and consult Seplos to see what's going on. I can confirm it hasn't blown the fuse on the mains, so it must be something else. So I will contact Seplos and the EG4 Chargeverter and see what they say. Managed to connect the Seplos pack to the Android app that I pre-installed before. It's very straightforward. The Bluetooth picked it up straight away, and I have all the settings in here, which is handy. So I'm going to send it over to Seplos to see if it is the Seplos battery pack that has the issue or if everything looks normal. Okay. So state of charge 54.40%, and we have pack voltage 52.82, so nothing going through it. Total capacity 290 amp hours. After some troubleshooting, I have found out that the extension reel I used has a thermal cutoff which kicked in, and that kind of disconnected the power. So although no fuses had gone, this little trip had gone. So I've bypassed that now, and I've lowered the amperage to 45 amp in case the 50 was a little bit too much. So we'll give it a second go. Let's start the charging sequence again. So isolated switches to on. So we now have connection, and the main battery isolated switch on the EG4 on. And the charge button is blinking, which looks promising. We now have the capacity charge lights indicating that it's charged between 50 and 75%, which is positive. And we have a 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45.1 amp current going in, which corresponds with the charger. The state of charge is 54.5, so it looks good so far, so fingers crossed. EG4 looks and sounds very happy, which is great. The Chargeverter is still going strong, and we are now getting closer to a 90.1% state of charge, which is fantastic. It's still a 45.1 amp current, and the capacity lights have moved up to the last, indicating that is charging between 75 and 100%. So everything looks good. After 100%, I'm going to activate the balancing switch and leave that on for 24 hours, and then we can monitor the individual cells and see what the difference is before we do the balancing and after the balancing, and hopefully we'll see some form of a difference. So I've reached 100% state of charge, so I'm going to turn this one off. And I have also clicked the active balance switch, which have made it fixed blue light, which looks nice. So what I will do now is leave it for 24 hours and then look at the different cell values again and see what the difference is. Okay, let's connect after 12 hours of balancing and see what the result is. So the different cell voltage is now 0.034, and I think that if I understand this right, anything below 0.050 is acceptable. So yeah, looks good. And according to Seplos, the battery pack, the first battery pack, is now ready for use. So the alarm info has gone away and the trip info has gone away as well. I can see that the state of charge is 99.9. I guess that is something that I will have to see as good enough. It's not 100%, but it's near enough. Thank you for watching episode 11. With the first battery now built and balanced, I just need to get some more components, and then I can connect that battery to the actual motor build. If you haven't seen the motor build, there's a special playlist for that. There's also a special playlist for the actual build of the boat itself. If you haven't subscribed and you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. If you have subscribed, thank you for watching. And if you have any comments or concerns, please stick them in the comment section and I will respond within 24 hours. Have a nice weekend.